The morning started like any other. The sun peeked through the curtains, casting soft light across the room. I could hear the gentle hum of the coffee maker in the kitchen. I got up, stretched, and took a deep breath. Everything seemed normal. But as I reached for my phone, my heart raced with an uneasy feeling. Something was off, but I couldn't put my finger on it. As I scrolled through my messages, my stomach dropped when I saw a name I didn't expect. Sarah, my best friend. My mind raced. Why was she texting Ethan? A sense of dread washed over me. I couldn't shake it off. I decided to call her, but before I did, I took a deep breath, steeling myself. Ethan, can we talk? I asked when he walked into the room, pouring himself a cup of coffee. Sure, everything okay? He replied, glancing at me over the rim of his mug. Yeah, just something on my mind. I watched him carefully, noticing the way his smile didn't reach his eyes. There was an undercurrent of tension I couldn't ignore. Should I confront him now? Or wait? I chose to wait, but the weight of my discovery pushed down on me like a heavy blanket. As the day went on, I felt paralyzed by the fear of what I might find out. The ground seemed to open beneath me, swallowing my sense of security. My thoughts spiraled. I could feel the betrayal creeping in, like shadows lurking just out of sight. I decided to mask my pain, hiding it behind a facade of normalcy. Dinner tonight? I asked, trying to sound casual. Of course. I'll be home by 6, he replied with a smile that felt too bright, too forced. With each fake smile I wore, I felt a strange sense of strength growing within me. I resolved to observe Ethan's every move. I turned the pain into a silent game, a way to reclaim some power. Each subtle glance, each lingering moment felt like a secret I was keeping. That evening, as we sat across from each other at the dinner table, I studied him. How was your day? I asked, forcing my voice to remain steady. It was good. Busy, you know, he answered, but I could hear the slight quiver in his tone. The way he avoided my gaze told me everything I needed to know. You seem a little off, I said, trying to sound concerned rather than accusatory. Just tired, he replied quickly, the edge of anxiety creeping into his voice. I nodded, hiding the storm brewing inside me. I couldn't let him see my pain, not yet. Instead, I focused on my meal, pretending to enjoy the flavors while my mind raced. What if I was wrong? What if I misunderstood everything? But deep down, I knew the truth was lurking just beneath the surface. Days turned into weeks, and I continued my charade. Every dinner felt like a performance. I would laugh at his jokes, ask about his day, and all the while my heart would ache with each passing moment. I thought about reaching out to Sarah, but I held back. I needed to gather my evidence first. Even as I wore a brave face, I felt the bitterness growing inside me, like a storm waiting to unleash its fury. I began to document everything: the late nights, the missed calls, the small lies that slipped from his lips. It became a ritual, each note I took adding fuel to the fire of my quiet rebellion. As I tucked away my notebook, a sense of calm washed over me. I was ready. Patience became my ally, and the moment I would confront Ethan would come soon. I could already see the pieces falling into place. How could I turn my pain into art? How could I show him what he had done? Little did he know, I was already crafting my masterpiece. Each fake smile brought me closer to the truth I was about to reveal. The world around me remained blissfully unaware, but I was awake, and I was ready to reclaim my story. Months had passed since I uncovered Ethan's betrayal, and I felt like I was living a double life. On the outside, I wore a smile that said everything was fine, but inside, I was a storm of emotions, each day blending into the next as I played my part in this careful game of appearances. I found refuge in my art. The moment I picked up a brush, I felt a spark of joy. Painting became my escape and my voice. I poured my feelings onto the canvas, creating vivid images that contrasted sharply with the sadness I kept hidden. Each stroke of my brush was a release, a way to express the bitterness I carried in my heart. One evening, as I stood in front of my easel, I heard Ethan's footsteps in the hallway. He came into the room, his face brightening when he saw me. "Hey, are you working on something new?" he asked, trying to sound casual. "Just some ideas," I replied, keeping my tone light. "Do you want to see?" I turned to show him my latest piece, a swirling explosion of colors that mirrored the chaotic mix of emotions inside me. "Wow, it's beautiful," he said, a hint of genuine admiration in his voice. "You've really captured something here." "Thanks," I said, forcing a smile. As I stood there, I couldn't shake the feeling of anger that bubbled beneath my calm exterior. He had no idea how much turmoil I was truly experiencing. While I painted, I also began to keep a journal. Each day, I noted Ethan's lies and excuses. I carefully documented every moment that confirmed my suspicions. I need to remember this, I thought, knowing that one day it would all come together. I wanted to confront him, but on my terms, not his. As I painted, the brush felt like an extension of my heart. I let the colors spill onto the canvas, releasing my pain and frustration. I created scenes of betrayal and resilience, each piece telling a story that only I understood. One night, as I added the finishing touches to a painting, I whispered to myself, "This will be my strength." My friends began to notice the shift in my work. "Your art has a new energy," Claire said one afternoon as we sipped coffee in my studio. "It's like you're telling a story without words." "I guess I am," I replied, my heart racing with the thrill of my secret plans. "Art can be powerful, right?" "Absolutely. It can reveal the truth in ways we can't even imagine," she said, her eyes sparkling with understanding. Little did she know how true that would be. As I continued to work, I felt empowered. The pain from Ethan's betrayal transformed into fuel for my creativity. I was no longer the victim. I was becoming the artist, an architect of my own story. One night, after a long day of painting, I sat on my porch, sipping tea and watching the stars. I thought about Ethan and the way he still tried to act as if nothing had changed. "Does he really think I don't know?" I murmured to myself. "Does he think I will forget?" Every time he walked through the door, I watched him closely. I studied his body language, his excuses, and the little lies that slipped from his lips. I became an observer of his deceit, gathering pieces of evidence for my grand reveal. I imagined the moment when I would finally confront him. The look on his face would be priceless when he realized I knew everything. I could picture it clearly. "Ethan, I'm not as blind as you think," I would say, my voice steady. "You've been living in a world of lies, and it's time for the truth to come out." The thought brought a smile to my face, a mix of excitement and anticipation. I was ready to take back my power, to turn my pain into a masterpiece. Each brushstroke was a step toward that moment of truth, and I felt stronger with each passing day. The art of deception was becoming my greatest ally, and soon it would all culminate in a powerful revelation. The rain poured down hard that night, each drop echoing in my heart like a warning bell. I sat on the couch, nervously twisting the edge of a blanket around my fingers as I waited for Ethan to come home. The clock ticked louder with every passing minute, and I could feel my stomach knotting tighter. I had spent months preparing for this moment, collecting evidence and building my strength. But now, faced with the reality of his betrayal, I felt a mix of dread and anticipation. When the door finally opened, the smell of another woman clung to him like a shadow. My heart sank deeper as he stepped inside, drenched and disheveled. I forced myself to smile, trying to keep my voice steady. "Hey, you're late. Did you have dinner with someone?" Ethan froze for a moment, his eyes darting away from mine. Yeah, just a work thing," he stammered, his discomfort evident. I could see the guilt flicker behind his facade. It was almost satisfying to witness, but the ache in my chest only grew stronger. "Really? You smell like someone else's perfume," I said, tilting my head slightly, keeping my expression neutral. "What was her name?" He shifted uncomfortably, running a hand through his hair. "Come on, it's nothing like that. You know how my job can be. Just a dinner with a client." "Right," I replied, suppressing the urge to lash out. Instead, I took a deep breath and held on to my calm. "I thought we were going to have a quiet night together. I made your favorite." "Sorry, I didn't know it would run late. I'll make it up to you." His voice was weak, and I could see the cracks in his confidence. I felt the power shift slightly in my favor, but it was not enough. As we sat down to eat the dinner that had grown cold on the table, I pondered the moral implications of love and betrayal. I had loved him so deeply, and yet here we were, playing a game of deception. His actions had consequences that reached far beyond just us. I had invested my heart into this relationship, and now it felt like it was being torn apart piece by piece. "Ethan, do you ever think about what we've built together?" I asked, looking him straight in the eyes. "Do you consider how your choices affect us?" He hesitated, staring at his plate as if the food held the answers. "Of course I do, but sometimes things just happen. You know that." "Things just happen?" I could feel my voice rising, the frustration bubbling just beneath the surface. "You don't just hurt someone you love and say it was an accident. You made choices, Ethan." He looked up, finally meeting my gaze, and for a fleeting moment, I saw the regret flicker in his eyes. But it was gone in the next instant, replaced by the usual defensiveness. "You're overreacting. I didn't mean to hurt you." "Didn't mean to?" I shook my head, disappointment weighing heavily on my heart. "You have hurt me, Ethan, and it's not just a little. It's huge. I've been watching you, collecting everything you've done, all your lies." His expression shifted from annoyance to shock. "What do you mean?" I smiled, a bitter smile that felt foreign on my lips. "Every time you lied, every time you thought I wouldn't notice, I took notes. I have proof, Ethan. Proof of your deceit." The room fell silent, the gravity of my words settling between us like a heavy fog. I watched him process what I had said, the realization dawning on him like a storm cloud rolling in. He had no idea the storm I was preparing. "This is crazy," he finally managed to say, his voice shaky. "You're being paranoid." "Am I? Or am I simply seeing clearly for the first time?" I leaned back, feeling a sense of calm wash over me despite the chaos brewing within. This was the moment that would set everything in motion. I envisioned the art show I had planned, the way it would lay bare his betrayal for all to see. It would be my silent revenge, my way of reclaiming my power. As the rain continued to fall outside, I realized that tonight was not just about confronting Ethan. It was about the beginning of my journey towards reclaiming my life, and nothing would stand in my way. The day of the exhibition finally arrived, and I felt a mix of excitement and anxiety swirling inside me. I had spent months planning this moment, pouring my heart and soul into each piece of art. The gallery was set, the lights dimmed just right to highlight my work, and the air was thick with anticipation. I stood by the entrance, taking a deep breath, my hands trembling slightly as I adjusted my scarf. "Are you ready for this?" Maria, my closest friend, asked as she joined me. Her eyes sparkled with encouragement. I nodded, forcing a smile. "I think so. I just hope Ethan sees what I've created." Maria raised an eyebrow. "He'll see it. You've made sure of that." As the guests began to arrive, I tried to maintain a calm demeanor. Friends, acquaintances, and even a few strangers drifted through the gallery, marveling at my paintings. Each piece was more than just color on canvas. They were stories of betrayal, pain, and resilience. I had captured the essence of my emotions, the bitterness of Ethan's lies, and the strength I found within myself. When Ethan walked in, my heart raced. He had that familiar smile on his face, but I knew it was just a mask. I watched as he mingled, oblivious to the true meaning behind my artwork. I could see him glance at a few pieces, confusion flickering across his face as he tried to make sense of them. "Hey, Ethan!" I called out, my voice steady. "What do you think of the collection?" He turned to me, his brow furrowing. "It's interesting, very colorful." I smiled, knowing how carefully I had chosen each hue. "Every color has a meaning, you know. Some are darker than others." He shifted uncomfortably, and I could sense the tension building. "Yeah, I can see that." As the night wore on, I watched him interact with our friends, his laughter ringing hollow in my ears. Each time he looked at a piece, I saw the realization dawning on him. One painting in particular caught his attention, a large canvas splashed with deep reds and blacks, depicting a heart shattered into pieces. "Is this what I think it is?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. I stepped closer, my heart pounding. "It reflects how I felt when I found out about your betrayal. It's raw, just like the truth." His expression changed. "I didn't think you would express it like this." "Why would I hide it? I've been silent for too long," I replied, my resolve strengthening. "Art has become my voice, Ethan." He opened his mouth to respond, but I moved away, allowing the crowd to envelop him. I needed him to digest the weight of what he had done. The gallery buzzed with conversation, laughter, and clinking glasses, but I felt isolated in my thoughts, watching Ethan's face as he slowly connected the dots. As the night progressed, I noticed him standing in front of another piece, one that showed a solitary figure surrounded by darkness, with a single beam of light breaking through. I had poured my sorrow and hope into that painting. "Is this you?" he finally asked, his voice thick with emotion. "It is. It represents my journey from despair to strength," I said, stepping closer. "I learned to find light, even in my darkest moments." He looked back at me, his eyes filled with regret. "I never meant to hurt you." I took a deep breath, feeling a mixture of satisfaction and sadness. "But you did. And now, you need to understand what you lost." Finally, I could see the realization washing over his face, the confusion giving way to a deeper understanding. I had waited for this moment, the moment he would grasp the full weight of his actions and their impact on my life. As the last guests began to leave, I felt a sense of calm wash over me. I had done what I set out to do. I had exposed the truth, not just for him, but for myself. The silence that followed was deafening, echoing the strength I had found within. I stepped back, allowing him to process everything. This was not just about revenge, it was about liberation. I had transformed my pain into something beautiful, and in that moment, I embraced the freedom that came with it. As the last guest departs, I feel a weight lift off my shoulders. The gallery, once filled with laughter and chatter, now rests in a heavy silence. I glance back at Ethan, standing alone in front of the painting that reveals his betrayal. His eyes are wide, and I can see tears streaming down his cheeks. The realization of his actions hits him like a wave, crashing over him, and I can hardly breathe. "Why?" he whispers, his voice trembling. "Why would you do this?" I take a deep breath, feeling a mix of satisfaction and sorrow. "You left me no choice," I reply, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "You chose to betray me, and I chose to expose the truth." Ethan looks around, his gaze darting from one painting to another. Each piece reflects a part of our story, a story twisted by lies and betrayal. I see confusion etched on his face, and a part of me wants to comfort him. But I remind myself that this moment is not about him. It is about me reclaiming my power. I thought we were happy, he says, desperation creeping into his voice. Happy? I echo, my heart aching. You were happy living a lie. I was not. Ethan steps closer, his hands trembling. I didn't mean to hurt you, he stammers, but I can hear the weakness in his words. I thought I could make it work. Make what work? I ask, feeling anger rise in me. The lies? The deceit? You thought I would just pretend everything was fine while you played with my heart? He opens his mouth to respond, but no words come out. I see the pain in his eyes, the guilt that he cannot escape. For months, I masked my own pain with art, turning my hurt into something beautiful. Now, standing here, I realize I have turned myself into a warrior. I have spent so long hiding my feelings, I say, my voice softening. But tonight, I decided to show the world the truth. I won't be silent anymore. Ethan looks down at the ground, shame washing over him. I never wanted to hurt you. I was just lost, he admits, his voice barely above a whisper. Lost? I scoff, feeling the anger rise again. You were lost in your own selfishness. You didn't care about how your actions would affect me. The silence stretches between us, heavy and thick. I can hear the faint sounds of the city outside, the world moving on as we stand here in this moment of truth. I watch as Ethan wipes tears from his face, and it pains me to see him like this, but I know this is necessary. Do you understand what you've done? I ask, my voice firm. You broke our trust. You shattered my heart. I know, he replies, his voice cracking, and I'm so sorry. I take a step back, creating distance between us. Sorry is not enough, Ethan. You can't just say that and expect everything to go back to normal. You've lost me. He stares at me, his eyes filled with regret. What can I do to fix this? He pleads. I'll do anything. Fixing this isn't about me. It's about you, I respond, my heart racing. You need to learn from this. You need to understand why you did what you did. The silence returns, and I can feel the weight of my words hanging in the air. I have exposed his betrayal, and now he must deal with the consequences. I know that this moment is not just about him, it is also about my liberation. I look around the gallery at the art that tells my story, our story. This is my truth, I finally say, my voice steady. And now, I walk away from this. I'm no longer defined by your betrayal. With that, I turn to leave. I can feel my heart racing, but it is not out of fear. It is out of strength. I walk away, not celebrating his pain, but embracing my newfound freedom from the chains of betrayal. The silence I cultivated speaks volumes now, echoing my strength back to me, and with each step, I feel lighter. With Ethan's betrayal behind me, I finally feel a sense of peace wash over me. The weight that once sat heavy on my chest has lifted, allowing me to breathe freely again. I stand in my studio, surrounded by the vibrant colors of my canvases, and I smile. Each brushstroke now feels like a celebration of my identity, no longer tied to the pain of the past. Look at this one, I say to Mia, my closest friend, as I point to a painting that bursts with fiery reds and deep blues. It represents my anger and my freedom. Mia steps closer, her eyes wide with admiration. It's beautiful. You've really captured the struggle and the strength. This is so much more than just paint on a canvas. Thanks, I reply, my heart swelling with pride. Creating this has helped me see how far I've come. I am not just the girl who was betrayed. I am so much more. As I dive deeper into my art, I also begin to explore new relationships. I go out with friends more often, laughing and enjoying life. One afternoon, I meet Alex at a local coffee shop. He has a warm smile and an easy laugh that makes me feel comfortable right away. So, what do you do? He asks, taking a sip of his espresso. I'm an artist, I say, a hint of excitement in my voice. I just had an exhibition that was quite the experience." He raises his eyebrows. "Oh, really? I'd love to hear about it. What was it about?" I hesitate for a moment, but then the words spill out. It was about betrayal, but also about finding my strength. I used my art to express everything I felt. "That sounds powerful," he replies, his interest evident. "Art has this incredible way of healing, doesn't it?" "It really does," I say, feeling a connection between us. I never realized how much I needed to reclaim my identity until I started painting again. As the days turn into weeks, I immerse myself in my creative projects. Each painting becomes a step toward healing. I experiment with different techniques and styles, letting my emotions guide my hands. I even start a new series that focuses on hope and renewal. "Look at this," I exclaim one day, showing Mia a canvas filled with soft greens and yellows. "It's a new beginning, a fresh start." "You're amazing," she says, beaming. "I can see the joy in your work now. It's inspiring." I laugh, feeling a warmth spread through me. I guess I'm learning to embrace who I am without the shadows of my past. As I reflect on my journey, I realize that the echo of silence I once felt was not a cry for vengeance. It was a melody of self-discovery and liberation. I have found strength not only in my art, but in my ability to let go of what no longer serves me. One evening, while painting in my studio, I pause to look at the sunset outside my window. The sky is painted with warm hues of orange and pink, and I feel a sense of gratitude. I whisper to myself, "Thank you for the lessons, Ethan, but I am moving forward." Just then, my phone buzzes. It's a message from Alex. "Hey, are you free this weekend? There's a new gallery opening downtown. I'd love to go with you." My heart flutters at the thought of exploring art together. I respond quickly, "Yes, I'd love to go with you." As I put down my phone, I realize how much I have changed. I am no longer defined by my past. I am embracing a new beginning, filled with hope, creativity, and the promise of new relationships. I take a deep breath, feeling the excitement of what lies ahead. Share this story if you believe that healing and self-discovery can lead to beautiful new beginnings. Leave a comment about a time when you found strength in your creativity and subscribe for more inspiring stories like this one.